You can't even imagine this, but it's true. What happens when a man spends his life saving others only to return home, facing a battle more dangerous than anything he's ever known? But the real story is just beginning. You won't want to miss this. Dear listeners, before we move forward, please subscribe my channel to hit 1,000 figure. The story begins with a soldier's journey, but not in the way most people imagine. Clint Eastwood, just a regular man from Texas with a quiet life, never thought he'd be a symbol of patriotism, courage, and sacrifice. His life was simple. His dreams were simple. But sometimes, life doesn't ask if we're ready. It just pushes us into something much bigger than we could ever imagine. We open with a small-town Texas scene. The sun is setting over the quiet neighborhood where Clint grew up. It's a world far removed from the chaos of the battlefield. Yet, something within him called him to service, a need to protect, to serve something larger than himself. But here's the truth. Every person who answers the call to serve has no idea what it will cost. They think they understand, but they never truly know. This simple man from a simple town is about to embark on a journey where the price of courage will be paid in ways most people will never fully grasp. Just like any of us, Clint Eastwood had a family, a wife, a child, and a future he dreamed of. But what happens when that future is ripped away? What happens when the weight of war comes crashing down on a man who just wanted to protect the people he loved? This is where his story begins. With that first step, that decision, that moment of bravery that changes everything. Clint's decision to enlist was not easy. He wasn't driven by fame or glory, but rather by a deep sense of duty. He wasn't like many of the other soldiers he would meet. He didn't sign up for adventure or excitement. He signed up because he believed in protecting his family, his country, and the values that meant everything to him. In the dusty streets of his small hometown, Clint knew one thing for sure. He was not just a soldier. He was a protector. And for him, protecting meant everything. We see him in training, struggling and pushing through every obstacle. The physical pain of boot camp, the mental strain of becoming someone else, the soldier. Each day is a reminder of how far he's come from his small-town roots. Yet, in the quiet moments between drills, the real weight starts to settle in. This is no longer just about him. This is about the men beside him, the people back home, and the mission ahead. But the cost of war isn't measured in medals or victories. It's measured in loss. The first time Clint feels it is on the battlefield. He pulls the trigger. It's not a movie moment. It's real. The weight of that decision, the burden of taking a life to save others, shatters something deep inside him. He becomes a sniper, a ghost in the shadows, and the line between who he is and who he's becoming begins to blur. It's easy for us as civilians to think of soldiers as heroes, as men who are always strong and sure of their choices. But Clint's experience shows us that war does something to a person. It doesn't just change the world around them. It changes them. And no matter how much we want to understand it, we can never truly know the cost of war until we're in it, until we live it. In the quiet moments after a mission, Clint reflects. He starts to lose touch with who he once was. He's a protector, yes. But in doing so, he started to build a wall around himself. A wall that separates him from the person he used to be. A wall that even his closest friends can't tear down. And then there's Taya, his wife. She feels it, too. The distance. The emotional withdrawal. She sees the man she fell in love with slipping away. She doesn't know how to fix it, but she knows she needs him. Their relationship becomes a tug-of-war. Her wanting him home, him wanting to stay on the front lines to finish what he started. The internal war is as real as the one he's fighting overseas. As Clint Eastwood continues his time in Iraq, the battles he faces aren't just on the front lines. They're deep within him, in every thought, every action, every decision he makes. The line between being a soldier and being a man begins to fade, and with it, the connection to the people who care about him starts to crumble. Every time Clint pulls the trigger, it's not just a tactical decision. It's a choice that weighs on his soul, making him question everything he once believed in. He's protecting his comrades, his country, but at what cost? He's no longer just fighting enemies in the desert. He's fighting something far more dangerous, his own conscience. In one particular mission, the stakes are higher than ever. He's faced with a decision that will change everything. He spots a target, an enemy who is hiding in the crowd. In a moment of clarity, he knows the decision he has to make. He can save the lives of his fellow soldiers by taking this shot. But there's a child in the crowd, and he's not sure if he can pull the trigger knowing a child might die. This moment doesn't just define Clint as a soldier. It defines him as a man. The inner turmoil, the gut-wrenching reality of war, fills his every waking moment. It's inescapable. Every shot fired, every life taken, chips away at the man he once was. But there's something more, his loyalty to his brothers in arms. The bond they share is unspoken, yet stronger than anything he's ever known. In Iraq, where life and death are separated by a heartbeat, Clint finds solace only in his fellow soldiers. They become his family. They understand the pain he's going through in a way no one else can. They laugh together, cry together, and, when the worst happens, they bury their own together. It's an unspoken promise. They're in this together, no matter the cost. Back home, the struggles continue. Taya is doing her best to hold the family together, but she knows the man she married is slipping away. She waits for the phone calls, the letters, and the rare moments when Clint comes home. But when he does, he's not the same. He's distant, haunted by the memories of war, and she's left to face the woman she's become because of it. One night, Clint is on a call with her, and she begs him to come home for good. But he can't. He's torn between the family he loves and the men he swore to protect. His loyalty to his brothers in arms is unwavering, and no matter how much he loves Taya and their children, he can't seem to leave the fight. The loyalty he has to his country and comrades pulls him back into the war over and over again. He becomes known as the deadliest sniper in American military history. But what the world doesn't see, what no one understands, is the price of that title. After 4 harrowing deployments, Clint Eastwood returns home. But the war follows him, an invisible shadow that refuses to let go. On the surface, everything is supposed to be normal. He's back with his family, back in Texas, where the air is fresh, the grass is green, and the world seems so far removed from the chaos of Iraq. But for Clint, this is the most difficult battlefield he's ever faced. The homecoming that he imagined would be full of relief and joy feels more like a battle. Taya welcomes him with open arms, but there's a coldness to him, a distance that neither love nor time can heal. Clint tries to reconnect, to be the father he wanted to be, the husband he once was. But every time he tries, he's haunted by the images of war, the faces of the men he couldn't save, the decisions he made that will never leave him. His physical body may be home, but his mind is still out there, still in the heat of battle, still hearing the distant sounds of gunfire and the cries of the fallen. His heart is divided. Part of him wants nothing more than to be with his family, to find peace, but the other part of him feels a relentless pull to go back, to finish what he started. Clint tries to drown out the pain with distractions, working on the ranch, spending time with his kids, and even helping other veterans who've returned home, struggling with the same demons. He begins taking these men out to the range, teaching them how to aim and shoot, not just to reconnect with them, but in a way to heal his own wounds. He wants to help them find their footing, just as he's trying to find his. But the ghosts of war don't leave easily. The sleep he craves eludes him, leaving him restless, eyes wide open in the middle of the night. There's no escape from the memories. His mind is trapped in a place he can't leave, a place where every decision, every action haunts him. One day, while out with a group of fellow veterans, he has a rare moment of peace. For a fleeting second, he feels like himself again. He's laughing, joking with the guys, feeling the camaraderie he's been missing. It's a moment of grace, a moment where the pain seems to lessen. But it's short-lived. The weight of what he's been through, what he's witnessed, pushes back in full force. It's overwhelming. Taya sees it too. She feels the distance growing between them, the cracks deepening. She doesn't want to lose him again, but she knows she's fighting a war that's bigger than her. It's a war Clint has to fight alone, against himself, against the memories that won't leave, against the man he's become and the man he was before. Clint Eastwood came home a hero. But heroes are often the ones who suffer the most, because they never talk about the things that hurt. They carry the weight of the world, even after the battle ends. The hardest part about coming home isn't the joy of seeing loved ones. It's the realization that the war never truly ends. It just changes form. It's one thing to fight on the battlefield, but it's another to fight the battle within. Clint Eastwood lived with that struggle every single day after coming home. He may have returned to the safety of his family, but the war didn't end for him. The hardest part about being a hero is realizing that the scars left behind aren't always visible. They're etched deep inside the soul. Clint tried everything. He sought peace in the quiet moments, in the love of his children, in his connection with his wife. He sought redemption by helping others, by guiding fellow veterans who were also struggling with the same haunting memories. But no matter what he did, there was always a sense that something was missing, a piece of himself that was lost in the chaos of war, never to be returned. And then, one day, while helping a fellow veteran named Eddie Ray Ruth, something unexpected happened. The world shifted again. Clint was killed by Eddie, someone he tried to help. A life taken by a man who needed guidance, who struggled with his own mental demons. It was an unfathomable, tragic end to a man who had already given so much for his country and for his fellow soldiers. The news of Clint's death spread like wildfire, but no words could truly capture the sorrow that followed. His family was devastated. His friends and comrades were heartbroken. The world lost a symbol of courage, but more than that, it lost a man who had tried to heal his own wounds by helping others. At his funeral, thousands lined the streets to pay their respects. The final procession was a somber, emotional sight. The streets were quiet, the air heavy with grief. The people who came to honor him weren't just soldiers. They were families, friends, and strangers who understood that the price of freedom is steep. that the men and women who serve often carry burdens that can't be seen, but must never be forgotten. The last salute wasn't just for Clint Eastwood, the sniper. It was for the man who loved his family, the man who fought for his brothers, and the man who could never truly come home. As the procession moved slowly down the street, the people stood, silent and still. The weight of the moment was undeniable. For in this final salute we see more than just the funeral of a man. We see the end of a journey, one that, despite its heartbreaking conclusion, will never be forgotten. Clint gave everything for his country, for his comrades, and for his family. His life, filled with both triumph and tragedy, serves as a reminder of the true cost of war. Not just in lives lost, but in the scars that remain long after the battle ends. And as his funeral procession passed, the world was reminded of something deep and undeniable, that the sacrifice of soldiers is a debt that can never truly be repaid. Clint's story is a testament to the unspoken burdens carried by soldiers. It's not just about the heroism displayed on the battlefield. It's about the emotional toll, the personal sacrifices, and the endless battle within that many soldiers continue to fight long after they return home. We honor those who serve, but we must also understand the silent struggle they face and the impact that this journey leaves on both them and their families. In the end, the last salute isn't just about the soldiers we lose in battle. It's about recognizing the silent heroes who endure and sacrifice in ways we may never fully understand, but whose legacy endures in every salute we give.